What it do, what it do, what it do? Welcome back to the channel, baby.
Yeah.
What it do, what it do, what it do, Half and J family. Welcome back to the channel, baby.
Yes.
It's your boy Half.
And your girl Jay.
And we back with another reaction video. All right, y'all, so we about to get into another reaction. Let them know who we're gonna react to today.
Blaire White.
Blaire White, another Blaire White. We did good on the last Blaire White. Y'all really engaged on that one. And what's gonna be the commentary on this one?
Leah Thompson, the trans athlete tipping point.
Now this is the one that I think I spoke on a little while ago in one of our reactions about the swimmer, right? So we'll get into this reaction, but before we do, everybody that's out there who has not yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
Turn your post notifications on.
Yes.
Like and share this video.
Yes.
And comment down below, baby. Come and join the squad, man. Half and Jay. We over here kicking off what? Good vibes, baby. Good vibes.
Boom.
Leah Thomas, the only swimmer to stay under 28 seconds on every lap.
Yeah, she was really solid this morning in the prelims. I didn't think she took a hard stroke the entire 500.
Leah is a woman, trans women.
I missed it. What did it say? Say women's sports. Women equals adult.
Human female.
I didn't think she took a hard stroke the entire 500.
Leah is a woman, trans women are women, and she deserves to compete among other women.
Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I feel like I want to title this video, I can't fucking believe we're still talking about this, because this is one of those topics that I feel like a healthy society would have came to a solution for like years ago, but I'm wrong. Leah Thomas. I have probably never gotten more requests to talk about like anyone than Leah Thomas, the trans swimmer. But before we jump in, just a reminder that you can meet me and see me speak at the Better Discourse Conference in Fort Worth, Texas, April 23rd, along with a list of other speakers from all over the political spectrum. It's going to be an amazing time, and I would love to see you there. Link for tickets in the description. So if you have an Instagram or a Twitter and you are even remotely glued into political discourse, you definitely recognize this face, Leah Thomas, the trans swimmer, actually the first trans woman to win the championships for the NCAA. And baby, the internet is on fire about this. And that's probably predictable, because anytime trans athletes make the headlines, there's going to be a big conversation happening, but I've never seen a trans athlete get as much backlash as Leah Thomas. And I
this is, I believe I spoke about the judge who's supposed to overrule his winning, her winning, however you want to word it, but you know what I'm saying, supposed to overturn the win for Leah.
Happening, but I've never seen a trans athlete get as much backlash as Leah Thomas. And I just have to say, we are living in a South Park episode. This case is so clear cut, it's so black and white, to the point where Leah ranks number 462. 462. Why do they even count that far back when you're ranking in a sport?
Wow.
I don't get it. 462 in a male competition, and then number 1 in a female. That it's just comical. It's a mess. Leah, you know you tried it. Tyra Banks, Tyrannosaurus Rex. The thing that really set Twitter off is the picture.
Blaire is funny.
Did she say Tyra Banks?
Rewind it back.
It's just comical. It's a mess. Leah, you know you tried it. Tyra Banks, Tyrannosaurus Rex. The thing that really set Twitter off is the pictures of the finalists, which a picture speaks 1,000 words. I mean, it's so ridiculous that if someone were to come out and say that Leah was some sort of plant and the goal was to make trans women in women's sports look ridiculous and to prove a point, I would believe it, because this is like a cartoon. I literally have an easier time believing that this is some sort of plant in a long con to discredit the trans movement than I do that the NCAA have just let this go and saw no problem up until the point where Leah snatched the title.
I was hangry, and that's why I started Daily Harvest. Working long hours, eating lunch at like 3 p.m., running to and from appointments. The thing is,
So the policy for trans athletes by the NCAA, transgender student athletes will need to document sport-specific testosterone levels beginning 4 weeks before their sports championship selections. Starting with the 2022 to 2023 academic year, transgender student athletes will need documented levels at the beginning of their season and a second documentation 6 months after the first. They will also need documented testosterone levels 4 weeks before championship selections. And the gag of it all is that Leah was only on hormones despite going through the entirety of male puberty and then transitioning in her 20s, only on testosterone blockers for 1 year.
In the summer of 2020, after I had completed my 1 year of testosterone testosterone suppression under HRT, they approved everything and I was clear to compete on the women's team.
As someone who's been on them for 7 or 8, I could.
This kind of remind me of that movie, Joanna Man. Is that what it's called? When he was trying to be a woman playing in the male's sport, playing, you know what I'm saying, on the male's basketball team. That's kind of like what this is. You know?
It's just not fair.
That's what I'm saying. It's not fair. It's a disadvantage.
He was only on testosterone blockers for a year.
Right, but he was a fully grown man before he even started doing it.
But he was taking the hormones, but I guess they felt that's all he needed.
Right, but after the age of 20, she said, though, right? Because he went through his puberty and all that first. You know what I'm saying? So he had all his...
It's just not fair.
know?
It's not fair. After a year, only a year?
Right.
On the women's team.
As someone who's been on them for 7 or 8, I could tell you the first year, about all they do is make you cry a lot. They don't really do jack. Anyone who thinks 1 year on hormones and you start in your 20s after developing as a male for your entire life up until that point, if you...
You know what I'm saying? She was up to his 20s, so he had all the testosterone, all this, man strength and all that was there already. You feel me? So...
You start in your 20s after developing as a male for your entire life up until that point. If you think it's doing anything to your body in that short amount of time, I'm sorry, but you're just mistaken. In fact, I'm still seeing changes in my body 7 years after the fact. So the idea that after 1 year, you're suddenly on a level playing field with biologically female athletes as a trans woman, having developed the entirety of your male puberty, male skeleton, aerobic lung capacity, heart size, muscle mass, bone mass, are you... I can't with how stupid people are. I've actually long since accepted that when it comes to the topic of hormones, 99% of people are complete idiots when it comes to this topic. They have no idea what hormones do and don't do. They think it's like a light switch, like, oh, you took estrogen, you're a woman. That's not how it works. People also seem to think that testosterone and estrogen levels are the whole sum of what a man and woman is. That it's like, if the levels are the same, then that's just everything else is the same. Sex differences is not some abstract concept that we have to really sit here and figure out and debate and go over and explain to people. These are things that you just inherently know from living in the world and seeing people using your eyes. You only need 1 of 5 senses to look at this picture and figure out what the f is going on. So much to the dismay of the entire community, I did weigh in on this and I tweeted, "Do not underestimate the amount of justified contempt this creates for the trans movement. I'm trans and this pisses me off. I can only imagine how the rest of the world feels." And I completely stand by that. And make no mistake, it is justified contempt. No rational human being looks at what happened here in the case of Leah Thomas and 99% of other trans athletes and says, that's fair. No, guess what happens? People start to build resentment for that. People don't like that. The trans movement has literally the worst marketing and PR out of any other group, movement that I've ever seen in my life. Who the fuck really sat down and said, okay, here's what we're gonna do to make everyone get on board with who we are. We're gonna tell them they have to accept sterilizing children, they have to be okay with ruining women's sports, and if they don't want to fuck us, they're transphobic. Sounds like a great plan. The most frustrating part of it for me is that all of these things that the community defends tooth and nail because I guess they feel like they have to, they have all to do with actually supporting trans people and being accepting of trans people and allowing people to make decisions with their bodies. They have nothing to do with it. To act like you can't support trans people but also see an issue with the Leah Thomas thing with 12-year-olds getting double mastectomies. If you think those things are mutually exclusive, you're a fool. Fellow trans people, it is not necessary to defend these things. In fact, it is counterintuitive to the extreme. Nothing is taken from me as a trans person by saying, yeah, the Leah Thomas thing is messed up. And it's not that hard to say. But yet and still, so many people in the community and activists that speak on our behalf are so insistent on dying on every single little hill that pops up. I guess it just blows my mind that the community is incapable of understanding the concept of optics.
I want to bring in now Griffin Maxwell Brooks. They're a member of the Princeton diving team who identifies as non-binary. Griffin, thank you for joining us. An asterisk, swim in her own lane. What do you make of that?
I think it's all nonsense, if I'm being honest. I don't think there's any need to exclude people further. I think that the demonstrations surrounding Leah Thomas have been already abhorrent and incredibly harmful to the status of transgender people as a whole. And I also think that it's not practical to create like an open category or just to further identify trans women as different or other in these situations. Leah is a woman, trans women are women, and she deserves to compete among other women.
I like how they never offer a tangible argument, like at all.
You don't even make no sense. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make no sense at all.
She deserves to compete among other women.
I like how they never offer a tangible argument, like at all. It's always just reverting back to the talking points, trans women are women, end of story, don't ask me any more questions. And it's kind of like, what a great help you are, my friend. And what exactly is the issue with being different? Because it seems to me that the whole argument is that trans people, trans women don't want to accept they are different from women. And what I've never been able to get a straight answer from these people about is, why is being different than women bad? Like, why is that inherently a negative thing?
Right.
Why am I supposed to feel less of myself because I am different than biological women? Why? Right. What value judgments are you placing on yourselves and trying to place on me by insisting that me saying that I'm different is somehow a bad thing? Right. Because in my world, being different actually makes you more beautiful, more intriguing, a cooler person in general. Who the wants to be an NPC, wants to be just like everyone else? It's the exact same thing as people who say we have to destigmatize mental illnesses, and then if you even hint that gender dysphoria, a neurological condition that actually affects your mood, affects your quality of life, and exists in your brain, maybe it's something to do with being a mental disorder, then it's suddenly, we can't call it that. Why? Is it because you think there's inherently a negative problem with having a mental disorder? Because I don't judge autism, I don't judge depression. By the way, there's a shockingly low amount of female athletes that actually speak out against this, and I have to kind of check myself and remember that not everyone's outspoken like I am, not everyone wants to be talking about this, but I feel like it really is time for female athletes to just start speaking up and talking about this and being like, hey, this isn't fair. Because if you guys aren't gonna defend yourselves, it's really hard to defend you. Right. Not that I won't, but you're making it harder. Right. And you know, I see some people saying that Leah technically didn't do anything wrong because Leah's playing within the rules, and this is true, this is absolutely a fact. It's not Leah's fault that the rules are so loose that she's allowed to compete, however. I call BS. I think Leah's a bad person. I think there's something to be said about honor, sportsmanship, integrity, and wanting to represent your community in a positive way. Because at the end of the day, Leah hurt the women in the competition. Leah hurt the credibility of her own community. Let's just say a children's wrestling league forgot to explicitly write in their rules that adults could not compete. And then suddenly some 200-pound man came and started wrestling kids and jacking up all these kids. Would you think it's wrong? Or would you say, oh, well, you know what? There wasn't a rule against it, so everything's fine. No, you wouldn't. Very good example of this. I'm in the gym all the time, right? There's no rules written by my gym that I go to that pre-op trans women cannot go into the women's showers and changing rooms and be exposed among biological women. There's no rule. I could do it if I wanted to, but I would never in a million years do it. First and foremost, because I'd be mortified for myself. That's humiliating for me. But I can't think of anything than going into a space, being so selfish and narcissistic that you completely throw out the concept of making other people feel uncomfortable in that way specifically and just do it. That would make me a person. Oh, but great segue. Leah Thomas apparently doesn't care. It's been alleged that Leah goes fully exposed in the locker rooms at her university without a care in the world. Apparently there's been complaints about it, and these complaints have been completely ignored by the DA, by the school, because God forbid anyone's feelings get hurt. Actually, specifically, God forbid Leah's feelings get hurt. To hell with the other girls, you know? Now I want to transition, no pun intended, to a little bit of a lighter, part of the story, because when I tweeted, it actually got a lot of traction, and I was met with a lot of replies from other trans people, and despite the fact that so many trans people do insist on dying on this hill, I really wanted to reach you guys some tweets from other trans people and other allies of trans people that feel differently. In reply to me, Oh, I know, I'm trans and this is unfair. Like, let's stop pretending this is fair. Can you do a video on this? I am now, and you're in it. My trans partner expressed the same feelings yesterday. It can be hard enough gaining acceptance, though most people we meet are cool, but situations like this push well beyond what is reasonable or logical and unfortunately create far more of a negative backlash. 100%. And it's this self-fulfilling prophecy because you have all these trans activists crying about how there's so much hatred against them. They do things to ignite those flames, and I, even who have lived my life with almost virtually no transphobia in my life ever, even I feel the tension when I'm around people these days when these topics come up and they're scared of what I'm going to say, even as someone who's very outspokenly against a lot of these things. I feel it, I see it, I hate it, it's disgusting. I'm trans and I support trans people in sports to an extent. You have to be a situationalist here, and this is simply ridiculous. While there are many trans people without a significant advantage, she clearly is not one of them. The living justification of every argument against. As a trans myself, I'm with you 100%. I have a pet peeve when people say a trans. That's grammatically incorrect, but okay. I would agree. My grandson is trans, and so is his fiance, and both of them do not agree with this. Never hated trans people, been around them since I was a child. A trans couple in my cosmetology class were the only ones who weren't bitches. Hell, I'm an OG Blaire fan, but we as a society need to realize that biology is real. So I just wanted to not just be entirely negative in this and paint this picture, a false picture that all trans people are on board with this, because it's just not the case. And you know, especially in my comment sections, you're always bound to find trans people that do agree with me. So I'm very glad they're out there, and I do really appreciate that I'm not one of the only ones speaking out against this. There's already so many people that are going to be in a predisposition to say that this trans community is some clown shit. Let's just be honest. So why are you going to go turn it into some actual clown shit and give them what they want? Right. What's the game plan here? Maybe I'm just not filled in on the game plan. Maybe, you know, my community is playing some sort of long game that I'm not aware of, but it's not working so far. So maybe fill me in if there's some elaborate master plan and this is all just part of it, because as of now, I'm thinking that you guys are your own worst fucking enemies. I love you guys. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram because I post on there way more than I do on here, so you have to follow those to keep up with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
I love Blaire. I really do. I love how outspoken and aware and real. You know, a lot of people discredit the things that she says, and
I look at it like, you know, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm starting to like Blaire as well, because like you just said, she's outspoken, which I love that. I'm outspoken myself. And she tells you what it is. You know what I'm saying? Whether you don't want to hear it or not. And she made a good point as far as Leah, his name, right? Leah. Thomas. Because you got to think about the other biological women who's been training so hard, putting all that work in. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third. And here comes a trans coming into their sport, dominating it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's unfair for the other women who's biologically really women, who's really been putting in the time and effort and all the preparations and stuff to get to that point.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not fair.
It's not fair at all.
It's not fair, you know. So, and again, a lot of people may disagree with Jay and myself, or even Blaire. But at the end of the day, again, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Now, if Leah go through the whole steps what she needs to do in order to participate in a women's sport, then fine, as long as everything is in order, though, to where there's no disadvantage. Perfectly fine. I don't have no problem with that. Yeah, I'm sure the other biological women wouldn't have no problem with that, because now it's a fair level playing field. You know what I mean? So,
and I like how Blaire put it, like that's just like having a grown man participating in a child sport. It's just, it's not fair.
It's not fair.
It wouldn't be fair.
At all.
It makes no sense.
Right. And it's kind of like, if for all my boxing fans out there, right? Why do you think they got different weight classes? Featherweight, lightweight, heavyweight. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna find no heavyweight, find no lightweight.
Right.
Because it's a disadvantage. You know what I mean? They're even if Mayweather got in the ring with, you know, what's the good heavyweight right now? I don't know a good heavyweight, but let's just say Mike Tyson, right? Ain't no way he's gonna win that.
And is there I don't know about sports. You know, I'm new to it, but in UFC, Is there a trans?
I think there is. I think.
So would they pair a trans woman with Ronda Rousey? Like, do you think that? Do you think how would that work?
Perfect example right there.
How would that work?
Perfect example. Perfect example. Now, what's her name? Ronda
Ronda
Rousey. I doubt very seriously if she'll win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if the trans didn't go through the.
She's strong though.
Yeah, she's strong.
Fighting a man.
But a man though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Especially if
UFC.
Right. Right.
Right.
So once again, y'all let us know what your thoughts are
Yes.
about this topic right here. Leave your comments down below. If you guys want some more of these contents right here, make sure you smash that like button and give us a thumbs up in the comment section.
Yes, and if you haven't already, go check out Blaire White's channel.
Right. She's definitely over
informative.
Right. Absolutely.
And very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some shout outs.
Okay. First shout out goes to Elsa C. What's up, Elsa C?
Elsa C, what's going on with you? Shout out to you. Hope you definitely enjoyed that Leah Thomas. The Blaire White, right? The Blaire White's commentary on it. Let us know what your thoughts is. Leave a comment down below.
Second shout out goes to Jeremy Wright. What's up, Jeremy Wright?
Jeremy Wright. I'm left-handed, but it's all good though.
Oh,
but anyway, hope you enjoyed that Leah Thomas, that Blaire White commentary. Leave your thoughts also down in the comment section.
Yes.
And let us know what you felt about it. And we out this thing?
We out this thing.
All right, so we'll catch you guys in the next video.
Yes.
Peace.
Peace.